Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Neremik, and for the final upload of 2019, unless of course I live stream later today, day 12 of the 12 Days of Neremik. It's almost the new year, which means there is a new top 10 games list. This was originally written up late 2018, early 2019, and I think I've changed a lot since then, but I think it's probably my best list to date because I've had a year to kind of refine it. And again, some things may not match up date-wise, but that's just because of how old this script is. This was originally going to come out a year ago, as of the day of posting, if it's coming out on the final day 2019, depending on time zones, obviously. But yeah, so, we're getting started. So, at number 10, I don't think it's anyone's surprise, I have stuck with this game for a while, is Fortnite. Now, if you ask me, in 2017, like, especially in the late half, what game I currently found the most overrated, I would have said FIFA or Fortnite. But since I uploaded that first sort of video on it in the first like real 12 Days in Neremik, I suppose, you know, I've come to enjoy the game a lot more. I play Save the World as well, so I'm kind of counting that. I've had some really dumb Twitter conversations about some fanboy 9-year-olds who say that they're two separate games. Okay, they're not. They fall under one umbrella, okay? I enjoy it. The PvE missions can be pretty boring, but I think, you know, the way they change Save the World over time with like new additions kind of always makes it feel fresh. Obviously I take breaks from this game more than the rest of which you'll see on this list, which is why, you know, this is so high up on the list. And also, I'm not sure whether this game is going to die out in the next year or not, so I'm putting it at number 10 just because I'm not sure if it's going to be staying around for that long. But yeah, I'm keeping this one at number 10 until next year. If it's still around though, I will move it past a few others on the list. But coming in at number 9, with something I have significantly more to talk about, we've got Shenmue 2. Now, some of you may have been very confused, so I started Shenmue 2 out of the blue and completely ditched Phoenix Wright. Yeah, it was for this list, so I had the footage, at least for the first game. Now, this was originally Thrillville, obviously. Again, this list has changed. I think this is the Shenmue game that I prefer the least. I haven't played 3 yet, but I still think the first game is better, just because of the small setting and whatnot, and there were multiple issues I had with this, but like, talking about what this game does right, like, it is a technical wonder how they got this to run on the Dreamcast. Again, the setting is massive, and while that's impressive to look at, actually completing the game in a massive world like Hong Kong or Wan Chai in this game, I think it is really difficult. And there's some points in this game where airing up books at the temple, hopefully that's a major spoiler for any of you, is so boring. I mean, it's not necessarily difficult, but it's just boring, and you have to do that, so in a game where you are supposed to take your time and breathe in the environment, I wanted to speed through the game to the point where I didn't have to do that anymore, so I kind of have to knock it down the peg for that, because as you'll see in my current playthrough of Shenmue 1 that's going on at the time of recording, I'm very much taking my time. I'm not sprinting from objective to objective to objective. I'm going around as I would have originally, talking to certain NPCs to get hints, and then doing, you know, then going to certain places. One major problem I had with this, I know a lot of people have had this error. I have had this error because I bought mine used. People who have ever played this game on Dreamcast, those are the Disc 3 read error. Just for context, you'll be playing the game on Disc 3 Kowloon, and that is probably the largest area in the game. Like, geographically, obviously not. I think Disc 1 and 2 takes that cake. In terms of outside and the amount of interiors and content on that one disc, I think it's like 8 hours worth of playtime, and the overall game time is something close to 20. So when you think it's almost like, you know, half the entire game on that one disc, it's going to run into some errors. The problem is this game doesn't auto-save, you have to manually save. And for most people, including me, in the first and second disc, which take place in a different area, without this error. I only had this error once in Shenmue 2. Not one even, and that was... Again, that was still inconvenient, but it only happened once, and it was most likely because I nudged my Dreamcast. But I have to knock this game down for that, because I do not like the Xbox version of this game. A lot of people don't. Again, I played the Dreamcast version, but from what I've seen of the Xbox version, it's actually kind of not as good. I know a lot of people don't prefer the whole English dub. Personally, I think that's one thing that version has over it. So the fact that this game, as well, the voiceover is exclusively in Japanese on the Dreamcast version, with English subtitles, obviously. Kind of, it takes away some experience considering the first game is in fact in English. And, besides that, I just think this game, especially the first 2 discs, it's just slow. I didn't want to play through this game as much as I did the first game when I got it. And again, I gave myself some time to get excited for this while I waited for it to arrive in the post, but those first 2 discs in Hong Kong, I really didn't enjoy. Looking for, I can't even remember it. The story in the first game is much more memorable. I can't even remember what I did, but I think you have to do this once in the first game, but in the second game there are 2 separate occasions where you need to get ridiculous amounts of money. Now, I think it's 500 in-game dollars, or a large amount of Hong Kong dollars. And the way you have to go around getting them is essentially you have to exploit the game to not spend in-game days, because again, this game has a bad ending that will occur if you reach a certain day. But again, I understand you're supposed to take this game slow and all, but you essentially start repeating the same in-game jobs and tasks. Once you figure out what you need to do, the first time this happens in Hong Kong, it's fine. However, again, on disc 3, which is my favourite of the discs, but because there's so much content on it, there's also a bunch of stuff I also dislike. You have to basically gamble. If you lose in the gamble, you reset your Dreamcast. If you don't lose, save. And that's how most people did it, because it's not very explicit in how you earn the money. I don't think many NPCs tell you how to make money. You can fight people, obviously, but again, for me, I found that this game was... the second game was just kind of more difficult on the Dreamcast. And yeah, I don't know, it kind of didn't hit the same beats that the first game did for me. Moving on to number 8, we're leaving behind 2 games which, I had a lot to talk about. We're talking about Little Big Planet 2. Now, the irony is strong with this one. Now, I first saw Little Big Planet in a game store, which is a games shop we have in the UK, like a few weeks after it launched, and I remember the exact words my parents said, "Ooh, that looks interesting," because it's shortly after my birthday that the game launched, and I'm pretty certain I said it looked gay and boring and moved on. Now, for those of you who remember, PlayStation actually gave away 2 free games because the PlayStation Network went down for a while, so I picked 2 of those, one of them being the first Little Big Planet and the second one being Ratchet & Clank Quest for Booty. Now, I finished the latter game, and I moved on to Little Big Planet, and I actually enjoyed it. Now, again, this game basically started my whole emo phase early on, but it wasn't very effective because I was literally like 11. So by the time the second game came out, I was addicted to this game. You could make your own levels. Again, the recent Game Theory video about the best games of the decade, I kind of found it insulting that he said Mario Maker was the most influential game for allowing the players to make their own content. Like, nah, this game's 10 times better. So, Little Big Planet 2. Game did not only allow me to be creative, but some people used it to e-date, like, why? This was a game that I had my first ever online friends with, and, I had the time of my life on this game, basically. Now, again, the second game, it took the things that I liked in the first game, and it kind of cranked them up to 11. And there was more tools, there was an even better story mode, there was more cosmetics, and there were more people playing the game as a result. And it just kept going. I played this game for years after school. And some of you may remember my first YouTube channel, Glitch Vision. Here's the story behind that. It was originally, as most people's YouTube channel, it was just originally my first and last name. But I was basically invited to this Glitch_clan, and I'm not going to tell you what my old Little Big Planet account was, because again it was my full name. But I had to make a new account, which was Glitch_Vision. And basically, I made this account, and I didn't hear it back anything from this clan leader, despite the fact that I'd been invited into it. So I saw this guy had a YouTube channel, so I changed my YouTube name to Glitch Vision, as most people know it, and I commented on one of his videos expecting him to respond. Never did. He responded like one time. That was it. But I'm pretty certain, like, again, side stories aside on how this game has pretty much impacted my first YouTube channel, which sadly is mostly gone. Sony basically began to ruin this game. They bought the IP from Media Molecule, and they put Suno Digital, so as most people know, the third game in the series isn't as good. And after they sort of handed over development on the second game, in fact the updates to Sumo Digital as well, the game started getting worse and worse. And what didn't help is that around the time that this game went downhill, Minecraft was actually on the rise, which was even worse in my opinion. I will still argue with someone any day that Little Big Planet 2 is better than Minecraft. Just because of the amount of stuff it allows you to do, and the fact that I went back to it a few weeks ago, or a few days ago even, and I played it and I had much more fun than I've ever had playing Minecraft in this whole year, and I stand by that. Now, coming in at number 7, we've got Sonic Adventure 2. Kind of short paragraph on this, but for those of you that have seen me play through the game, you will have seen me give the PC version specifically a lot of slack. But when it comes to the Dreamcast version, the original version, it just isn't bad. So I'm talking about every version of this game minus the PC version essentially, because they all function relatively the same. So you can count the Battle version or the original version, but the controls in those versions are 10 times better, so are the cores. It's just a shame that I didn't have a capture card. Oh no, I didn't have the right tools to record the PS3 version of this game I have. But like, the level design in this game, phenomenal. I don't need to say why this game is good, because 10 million people said why it's good before me. Just, again, go out, buy this game. It's fun. If you're a fan of platformers, you need to have played this game. Again, it's much better than the first game, because instead of having like to wander aimlessly in hub worlds, you actually you just go from level to level. And while I'm a fan of hub worlds in Sonic games, I think the first game's hub worlds were a bit in your face. So I kind of like them on the side, ever so slightly. But I think Sonic Adventure 2 can only appeal to so many people, right? It came out a while ago, so moving into number 6 is a game that I think appeals to a lot more people, and because of that, it can be dragged down at times, but that doesn't stop it from being the best-selling entertainment product of all time. Hello Rock Dwellers, those of you who haven't heard about or played this masterpiece, Grand Theft Auto 5 is a game about being a criminal in the nice old area of Los Santos. How well does it do that? Well, it's number 6 on this list, so it does its job pretty damn well. Now, the story is well written for the story mode. Bar the port mission, don't mention that. And the heist is the highlight of the single player campaign. I enjoyed messing around in single player with cheats and mods. Just the base game itself, the story, the gameplay, especially the characters. There's a lot of character-based comedy in this, which I think is right up my alley. It's just fun. The controls for driving and whatnot are spot on, minus like a few cars which are, purposefully difficult to drive. Of course, it has its fair share of frustrating missions, but with just story mode, it'd probably be like 10 on this list. But then we start mentioning about GTA Online, and this game starts shooting up. Past every other game in this list, up to this point, has little to no online functionality, minus Hustle Big Planet. And because of that, it pales the amount of fun content that is free with paid microtransactions in this game. I don't see models or griefers at all too often to begin with, and in the event I do, they're easy to counteract, okay? A lot of people mention that and drag the game down because of that, but in fact, no, it's not as big as an issue as many people make it out to be. At least from my experience on PC and PS4. Now, this game gives you free content, right? Those heists which were the highlight of the single player? You've got more heists. You can own a nightclub, you can own a CEO office, you can even rob the casino in the newest update. I mean, yeah, we've had the Arena War update where you beat each other up in cars, which no one plays because it pays awfully. And we have the Bikers update, which no matter what you say is genuinely one of the worst things I've ever seen in a video game. Like, why? Besides that, all that stuff's optional, okay? You don't have to encounter it. Online, you got more cars. You need shark cards. Debatably, people say you need them. You don't need them. I've only bought 2 shark cards in my life, and they didn't really help me, because that 300,000 was gone in about half a second in this game. The casino as well that was open as of writing the scripts, apparently, the ability to gamble away your money, region, depending on what region you're in. That content's actually free. So you can gamble in-game, you can lose your virtual money. There was a controversy about being able to buy in-game money with real money and then gamble the in-game money away and lose real money on virtual gambling. There's a point to be made about that. Rockstar are known for being pretty satirical and making fun of most of the gaming world, especially in the new update, where you own an arcade. A few characters make sort of jabs at how the media used to portray the game, which I kind of found funny. But this game is very good. I come back to it, but the thing is there's down periods, so you'll finish the story mode so many times and then get bored unless you're a speedrunner. And online, it will have content droughts where there'll be nothing new and you've done everything from the previous update that you wanted to do. And in the event that you have no friends online, you essentially you aren't going to be playing much, or at least for long. So that's why it's kind of up here. Even though, you know, when this game's at its prime, it would solidly, like, you know, beat like second, third place on this list. Coming into number 5, this is probably the worst placement change, at least from the previous one. So some of you remember my last list where I put Zero Escape as number 1 now. Now Zero Escape is number 5. So, sadly, all 3 games are packaged in as one game on Steam. So I'm counting these 2 games as one game because they are sold as one game on Steam. But they're the 2 better entries in the series anyway. Now this is a visual novel. Now I did mention that GTA's story is pretty good. If you take that and you multiply the intensity and complexity by it, and then you throw in a bunch of escape the room puzzles, you get Zero Escape the Neremik games. Now, some people may be very confused as to why this is above GTA. But you know, personally, some missions in GTA drag the experience down. In Zero Escape, it's dragged down less. You know, I'm a person who any day will I'll watch something before I play something. So Zero Escape is right up my alley as being something I can watch and play at the same time. You know, you aren't going to be doing much, you're just going to be reading and or listening to a bunch of dialogue and then solving the occasional puzzle. But the quality of that dialogue, this is essentially what would happen if Telltale Games knew what they were doing and then took a shit ton of heroin. But goddamn, this game is good, okay? Your choices actually matter. I made a database in school dictating how to get every individual ending, and goddamn it, that took a long ass time. But there's multiple endings. I think this game takes roughly 70 hours to complete, given you aren't spamming through all the dialogue and you're going in blind, no assistance. Obviously, my playthrough is going to be shorter because I have a minor idea of what I'm doing in those puzzle sections. But you know, if you're skeptical about this game, take the plunge, I'd say. Especially on Steam, there you can play a game for up to 2 hours before you can't return it anymore. So as long as you return it before you've played it for 2 hours, and within a 2-week period, you can return it. So I'd recommend giving the first hour or so of this game a go, especially when it's on sale. It's on sale now because winter sales. So go give this game a go if you like kind of like narratives. It's by the same people that make Danganronpa, which is very similar to Ace Attorney. That's also a very sort of screwed up mental game. I haven't got around to playing it though, but I know it's quite popular. It's also, I would really like to see this be turned into a TV series, even though like all the timeline jumping wouldn't make too much sense. But coming in as somehow beating this out, even though I kind of agree with it. You know, Zero Escape, it might not be up everyone's alley, and especially, you know, it can kind of mess with your head. So more straight up forward trilogy of games, which I'm counting as one game, is the Ace Attorney trilogy. I really enjoy playing Ace Attorney, just, you know, in my own time and not on video. And this takes the original 3 games and the Phoenix Wright trilogy, which are great. You take the good story from Zero Escape and you numb it down, so the story is still like a roller coaster of good stuff, but it's less confusing. You get some better characters because honestly, Zero Escape doesn't have the greatest characters in the world. You throw in a handful of plot twists, fun courtroom scenes, and goddamn, of course you guys told Dual Destinies to fuck off one last time because that game is horrendous. It's beautiful. In this game, you go around as a lawyer, you talk to people at scenes of crimes, and you prove your client innocent, or in one case, guilty. And that's all I can say without spoiling it. This game is, again, really story heavy, so it might not be up everyone's alley. The investigation sections where you go around and find evidence are by far my favourite thing in the world. But when you're in the courtroom and you are nailing those witnesses, and the pursuit theme starts playing, and they start sweating, and you keep hammering them, you know, the judge is starting to be swayed over to your side, prosecution's sweating bullets. Like, it's something to behold. And even though you know what's going to happen, I still get hyped listening to those moments in game. This doesn't have voice acting unlike Zero Escape, but goddamn, it still gets me excited every single time I see the end of any of the games, except Rise from the Ashes. We don't mention Rise from the Ashes, it was a mistake. It's a known fact the Antichrist actually worked at Capcom and wrote that case. But yeah, besides that, you know, this is much better. I know as well, I keep mentioning bad things about Zero Escape, but since these games are so similar, Zero Escape, the ending of the final game didn't make me instantly dislike a bunch of characters because of their actions. which Zero Escape does. Again, not gonna spoil anything, but those last 20 minutes, I'm just gonna say, fuck you, Akane. And right, moving on from my visual novel addictions, we've got Shenmue 1. Obviously, this was coming here. The irony of placing this at number 3 is very large, but you know, as a Dreamcast owner, I'd be a fool not to own this game. If you look at any top 10 Dreamcast game, this game is up there. Like, this game is so large, it needed 2 cases to store the games in. I think Shenmue 2 does that as well, but this list of scripts was written throughout the year, so no. You may have noticed a theme with story over the last few entries, but if this game was heroin, then I'd be Demi Lovato, because holy fuck. No, I don't care what anyone says about the voice acting in this game. Like, it's the charm, okay? I played this in English. I don't care about the voice acting. It makes the game even better. Like, with GTA, Zero Escape and Ace Attorney, as maybe 1 or 2 minor breaks in the middle of playing each game. This, no. This game I got on December 25th, and I finished it by December 28th. So on average, that is 1 disc per content. There's only 3 discs in this game, unlike 4 in the second. That's 1 disc full of content per day. And this game takes, what, 20 hours to finish? So you do some math. In fact, I'll do some math. You sit right there, that's like 6.3 gameplay hours in-game. Yeah, this game's fighting system is adapted from Virtua Fighter, which I can agree with is probably the best fighting game in history. The system is so good. Not to mention, the reason people say this game is good, you can like explore everywhere in this game. Okay, like there's a reason that people funded $7 million for a 3rd installment, and when this game came out, whether the budget for it stretched over to the 2nd game or not, it was the most expensive game ever made, and it shows. Every single NPC is voiced for different parts of the game. Like, everything is modelled in the best quality that you could get for $19.99. And just everything. Like, this game is obviously pushing the Dreamcast to its limit. Unless, of course, you know, the limit is the game crashing, which, it's at the limit without being Shenmue 2 Disc 3. Like, you look at some things, like, I was walking around Dobuisa on my first day of playing the game, and I'll try and throw a clip in of me doing it now, or being around the area, and I sort of took a right towards the park, and I realised there were stairs. So I went up the stairs, expecting it to be like an invisible wall or a loading zone. But the stairs kept going, and there was another area there, and I was like, whoa, is this a Dreamcast game? It was like Yu Suzuki, the creator of the game, saw the hardware limitations, and he was like, how many discs would it take to fit this on? And someone was like, probably about 5, and he was like, nah, give me 4 discs, because 4th disc is extras. So technically, you took 5 discs worth of content and shoved it onto 3. I mean, this game has its fair share of frame rate problems and pop-in problems, but I don't care, because they don't affect the gameplay. Have I mentioned the music in this game as well? Like, get some of that cranks in the background. Like, was it Earth and Sea? Oh, that's my jam. All that free music as well. Plus, the game has a vocal theme that plays. And, like, not to mention, like, there are so many different styles of gameplay. Like, it has classic Sega arcade games in this, which is just, you know, I don't think you see that anywhere else other than, like, the first Animal Crossing game. It's so cool. Again, this is sort of building onto Shenmue 2 because it shares a lot of these features as well. But, okay, we don't mention Shenmue 2. It's got this whole sequence where you ride a motorbike, like, once, but it shows, like, how unique they like to make this game. And, again, the game as itself sort of establishes rules in it, and at certain points, those rules, so for example, being indoors by 11:30, get, like, completely broken, to the point where you're out at 4 AM, doing certain tasks. It's really difficult not to spoil the story. Obviously, you know, one downfall of this is that the story doesn't get wrapped up quite, but it's got a nice enough conclusion. You know, I think it's good. If you're on the fence about this game, as someone who is part of Generation Z and the Millennium, like it or not, and has a tendency to expect a bunch from his games, and has the world's most impatient, like, patience, according to doctors and crap. Like, I'm pretty sure I have borderline ADHD. This game isn't as bad as everyone makes it out to seem. Yes, it's slow-paced, but it's slow-paced in a good way. There is a lot of waiting around for it, but that's kind of what, you know, other side activities are. You can go and gamble, which I kind of find fun. those arcade games as well, or you can go and like tend to this cat that's on the side of the road. But it's amazing. Everything as well has such good detail. Every NPC in the game has a set timetable for each day, and depending on what day of the year it is, the weather and type of NPCs you'll see a change. Later at night, more drunk people appear. It's great. So like, just buy this game. They have remasters on PC, though I would recommend playing with a controller like I do, or buy it on Dreamcast. Personally, I enjoy the Dreamcast version a lot more because I don't know. There's just something about hearing like all the music and dialogue from a slightly old, outdated TV speakers, which is just perfect. Anyway, moving on to number 2. I don't even need to spend that long on this. It's Animal Crossing on the Wii. I'm not going to elaborate on this, but I gave this game a 9.5 out of 10. There is a review. I will link the review in the description. But that is basically everything that I would say. But this video is getting long, so yeah. And coming in at number 1, a game I plan to review. It's back at number 1. It's Sonic Unleashed. To no one's surprise, this is my favourite game of all time. I suppose you could call it favourite game as of the past 2 decades. It's so fun. Everything in this game. Okay, I wrote a lot to talk about here, but I'll do it. A lot of people give this game slack because it's cool to hate on this game. But when you look past certain things, you realise that they're making a big fuss over nothing. Especially since I recently played this game, as I normally would casually. And I have to say, I'll just disprove a few things first. The story in this game is cool, and the day levels, everyone unanimously agrees, like the game or not, are really fun. The nighttime levels are hit or miss, but for me, they're a hit. And because of that, I can enjoy this game. I enjoy both day and night stages in this game. Sorry if I'm pausing, but it's kind of hard to elaborate this and cohesively start talking about this game, because normally it just devolves into a mess of words on the floor that are going somewhere. This game, it's known for having a phenomenal soundtrack, and I agree with that. You may mention I did mention in the part about Sonic Adventure 2 how Sonic Adventure 1's worlds were a bit, bad. This game sort of takes them and makes them good. They're really fun to hang around in. There's so many side missions that I think so many people gloss over. This game has DLC with harder levels. They're kind of like a rage version of all pre-existing levels, but there are some which, I mentioned this, there's a level in the late part of the game, Jungle Joyride, where you go past a waterfall, and you think, wow, that'd be really cool to run on. And then one of the DLC levels is you running on that waterfall. It's so cool because obviously they sort of listened to feedback and then made those DLC packs. To feature what people wanted. It's a good old challenge, they're worth your money. I'm talking about the PS3 and Xbox 360 version, by the way, if I haven't mentioned it. The frame drops aren't that obvious as well. You literally have footage of the entire game, but you just supposed to give me watch time, please. To disprove that. And there are some limits people give on this game, especially one I hear the most. Sun and Moon medals are too difficult to find. They're not. Again, you got literal footage of me not knowing where more than 5 of them were in the whole game, and completing the game without running into a single point in it where I had to go and look for them. Obviously, there were some points where I went to look for them, or on my own accord, but I cut that out, and that didn't even take that long. And in the long run, I don't think it even made that much of a dent. I got 3 medals from the whole world in 10 minutes of work. And again, I was enjoying myself the whole time. This game can feel a bit slippy at times, but you've got to admit that things are wrong with the game to truly love it. And I acknowledge this game isn't for everyone, but for me, I really enjoy it. Again, I'm not the best beat-em-up person in the world. When I'm playing Shenmue, I'm literally mashing the buttons. But besides that, this game's really simple to pick up, and you can memorise a few good combos. If you want to, you can properly immerse yourself in the combat system of the night stages and get to know every single combo, what's good, what's bad. But for me, you can button mash, or you can learn a few useful combos, and it rewards you for taking your time in the game as well. Again, if you watch my whole series, you probably understand why this is my favourite game, so by all means, if you're sceptical about why this is number 1, then you should go ahead and watch me play it. The whole thing's out, 1440p, 60 FPS, very good. I just think though this game still takes the cake. I don't think a single person probably understands this placement of games, but for me, you know, over the last almost 2 decades I've been alive, these are like the games which consistently pop into my head. Like, when I think of best game ever, at least the best game that I found or that is currently released, like, these games pop into my head without a shadow of a doubt. And trust me, I've played lots of good games and I've played lots of bad games. But yeah, so that's it. 30 minutes worth of recording, honestly could have been shorter, but I woke up at 2 PM today and I kind of feel pressed to get 6 videos out, so this is gonna be a fun one, isn't it? So if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to leave a thumbs up, possibly subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a comment down below. But with all that said, and all that aside, thanks for watching guys. My name's been Neremik. Tell me what your top 10 games are in the comments down below, and peace out.